pounds fatter than I was last week. We are back from Thanksgiving, and here I am, supposed to be preparing the way for Jesus in my life. And we're preparing for little baby Jesus. How Allison Sullivan's here, co-host.
Hi.
You know her. You love her.
I'm only 5.5 pounds heavier.
How many pounds do you think the baby Jesus was when baby Jesus was born?
Obviously 8.5.
8.5 pounds. So I am preparing for Jesus to come into my heart like I prepared the 8.5 pounds to come into my belly.
That's clever
for
what you
Thanksgiving.
just did there.
Thank you. I appreciate you seeing it coming and playing along.
Yeah.
Because if you would have said Jesus was 5.5 pounds, I would have had so many more questions about like the medical technology available at the time. And I mean, I know he's God, but he's also a baby.
I know better than to make myself the hero on your show, Taylor.
No one's the hero on my show. We're all losers here. Welcome to Forte Catholic. As I am recording this, we are in the Forte Catholic Phenomenal Studios here.
Yeah, we are.
Still unfinished.
Oh, I think it should stay this way. I think it feels very finished.
Wait, you think this is done?
I feel right at home.
Nothing has changed, and you were here a month ago, and you made fun of the whole thing.
I did?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just used to it. You've worn me down.
I've trained you so well that you also don't remember all the mean things you say. That's exactly how I live my life.
Well, I'm glad that it can slip away.
Well, good.
Because I don't mean any of it, Taylor. You know I love you.
That kind of leads into our conversation today.
Okay.
I have been very, very, very busy this semester. It's been really
you have. You've had a crazy last couple of weeks. Is it months even?
Yeah. I mean, since August, my life has just been go, 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 go. So I finally got some time to relax this Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it had pluses and minuses.
Okay.
But before we get into my Thanksgiving, we have to talk about yours. Because I actually don't know. Like, we're like real life friends. But
real life friends.
It's like...
This is not just for show. We actually like one another.
Most of my friends are for show, but Allison's not. But like, it's like a family week. So like, we just don't bother each other.
Sure.
I like waited like till the last minute to ask if you could come to I didn't want to bother you during your family time.
Yeah.
But you sent me the most Allison Sullivan text of all time. I was texting you.
I don't know where this is going.
Okay. So I was texting you. I was like, hey, are you available Monday to record for the show?
Yeah.
And you were like, this isn't the text that defined you. It was just a normal text.
Yeah.
I think I'm available. I'm in the middle. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not at home. I'll check my calendar. So I text you like Sunday afternoon thinking like, oh, she's back now.
Sure.
And you responded, I'm still in the middle of nowhere. It's probably fine. And that text defines my entire relationship with you.
It's probably fine.
I don't know where I am, where I'm going, but it's probably fine.
Well, it's probably fine. Because you know what? I'm an optimist. I really am. I mean, it's probably fine is my parenting philosophy. It's probably fine is my calendar philosophy. Because what was happening, Taylor, is that I was in the middle of nowhere and I still use a paper calendar. So go ahead and make fun of me now. Like, I feel like you should have not emoji, but a voice, like a sound effect for that.
Yes,
like I'm old.
I'll insert an emoji into the radio show.
Shush it. Okay, but I have a paper calendar and it was not on my person as you're texting me. So I'm like, it's probably fine. I'll be there, probably.
So wait. Okay. Yeah. I know that old people have paper calendars.
Yeah.
But
I like to see it before me. I like to lay it out.
But that I've never realized that you are as old enough of a person to not have like the paper and the computer one, like the one on your phone, match up.
No, I don't have that.
So like you don't use the calendar in your phone?
I don't.
This explains...
I need to touch it.
You can touch your phone. This explains...
Not well enough, okay?
This explains all of like... Anytime I've ever been frustrated with you, it all makes sense now.
Yay!
You're just too old.
Well, duh. I mean, I feel like we've had this conversation a million times over. I want to hear about all the times you're frustrated with me. That's what I want to know.
Well, it's usually around scheduling things.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And it all makes sense now. Ask me right now if I'm available at a certain time or date to hang out with you.
I'd like to know what you're doing at 3:15 on Thursday.
3:15 on Thursday. I'm free. I'm sure we can hang out.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, come on over.
You want to lock it in?
We'll have
I can lock it in.
Skinny margarita.
But apparently I'll have to text you to tell you to put it on your paper calendar to make it actually happen.
Listen, there are these indicators that I'm significantly older than you, and having a paper calendar is like the least offensive one to me, so I'm fine with it.
I think it's the most. I think having a paper calendar and not having it in that $1,000 phone in your hand is the dumbest thing I've ever heard you do.
Well, you know I'm still mad at you because you made have to recognize my face, and it takes too long now.
It doesn't take too long. You were the old person that didn't realize. Okay, here's what happened with iPhones. They had a 4-number passcode. It was the only option.
I just got bored.
And then they made a 6-digit passcode.
That was rude too.
And then they made an 8-digit passcode. And then they started using your finger, and then they started using your face. What you had, Allison, was still the 8-digit passcode. You know how long that takes to type in 8 digits?
Well, I don't know what was happening. My phone just opened, and now you made it have to recognize me.
Oh, that was your problem. You had the 8-digit code, and then you said that was a problem, so I took it off, and you loved not having a password. You have 9,000 kids. Like, people can steal all of your stuff. I
don't have any stuff.
Right, because there's nothing in your calendar, so I guess it's fine. I'll turn it off. You win this round, old lady. Jeez Louise. Okay, so you were in the middle of nowhere.
Ish.
So what were you doing? Did y'all have a good time?
I was in a town population 90. So
you and your family arrived, you doubled it.
Right? Exactly. Okay, so right after Thanksgiving, we went to Round Top, Texas. Do you know Round Top?
No.
Okay, well, they have a really famous antique festival.
As famous as papered calendar. Jeez Louise. Famous.
This is all in theme, right? Okay, so it was my mom's 70th birthday, and so we took my mom to Round Top.
How is your mom only 5 years older than you?
Oh my gosh, that's so rude what you just did right now.
Does she use?
Touche. It's good. That's a good one.
I bet your mom uses her iPhone calendar.
No. Okay. Anyways, my mom has a flip phone.
Doesn't
Thank
she?
you very much. Okay. So, do you know Junk Gypsy by any chance?
Yes, also very famous.
Okay. They are. Oh, you just offended the Junk Gypsies, and I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Well,
so,
if I only offend people today who are named Junk Gypsies, I think I'm doing pretty well for a normal day for me.
Okay, well, listen, they're designers, and they're fabulous. They're so creative. They push all these creative edges, and they have a store in Round Top that's very famous, and now they have places where you can go stay. So they have a farmhouse that is decorated to the nines, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and there's antiques, and there's Mexican food, and there's Royer's Cafe with very delicious pies, and we just spoiled my mom in this little heaven of a town.
You just completely threw off you're a great author, you're a great wordsmith, and you built this beautiful picture of this town.
Okay. And then what happened?
All I did was, which one of these is not like the other? In the middle of nowhere, these old gypsies, and this is all still fitting. The house,
yes.
the little cafe, and then you said Mexican, like Mexican food. What does that have to do with gypsies?
Because it's all these little dive places, and I would imagine that if you're not a tourist, you walk in and everyone knows your name. And these people's style, where we went to go stay, it's mapless. It's like it's old Hollywood, but then New York, but then Mexico desert. It's like dust and diamonds. I mean, their style is just completely mapless, boundaryless, and it's kind of dust and diamonds, like they combine these things that seemingly have nothing to do with each other, and you walk in and you're just completely overwhelmed. And if you weren't positive you were in heaven, then they show up the next morning, they knock on your door, just tenderly knock on your door with a bucket of hot biscuits. Okay.
I think you should call that a basket. I think that's what that should be called.
It's a basket. I love your brain most of the time when it's not insulting me. So it's biscuits and butter and creativity and goodness and all in Round Top.
So
check it out.
I think the lesson of this story
Yeah.
is that if you are stuck in a place in life, either physically, mentally, or spiritually,
Yeah.
you get really creative and start telling yourself that all of this is what you want. Like those gypsies just started in Round Top. They're like, we're really bored because there's nothing to do here. Let's make this place New York and Tanzania and Mexico City, and we'll pretend it's that and trick old white women into paying a lot of money to come stay here for our buskets. I feel like that's the moral of the story.
Okay, maybe that's fair. But they have bloomed where they are planted like no other. Everybody go check out Junk Gypsy. By the way, at the Antique Festival, it's twice a year, and like very famous people are there. Matthew McConaughey is there. My friend saw Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, you finally
like,
used the word famous correctly. You said the word famous multiple times today, and I was about to say, they have really famous people there, like George Kittler.
Like
what is
Emmylou
George
Harris?
Kittler?
No, but Matthew McConaughey was there. My friend saw him. She's like, hey, Matt. I mean, does he go by Matt? I don't know. She's like, hey, Matt, it's my birthday. And he's like, all right. And like kept on going.
Did he really?
No, that's
that would have been amazing.
I know, right? No, he didn't say that.
Wait, do you realize the joke you just made?
Oh my gosh, that actually hurt. That actually did hurt a little.
I want to give everyone a
you're
picture.
You're kind of on a roll today, Taylor.
Allison is sitting in a corner.
Maybe it's those 8.5 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fatter and therefore funnier. You're in a corner, and every time I make fun of you, you somehow get more into the corner. Like you're trying to get away from me. It's great.
No, bring it.
All right.
That's
well,
what I say. That's what I say.
I'm glad you enjoyed the strangest Thanksgiving I think I've ever heard about.
You wish you were there. I know it. I know you do.
I went home to where I grew up, Lake Jackson, Texas. Very famous.
Very famous.
We were
it's
once
Taylor Schroll's hometown.
We were once on the 11th
Wikipedia.
page of the New York Times because they found a full mammoth right next to my high school.
Really?
We watched them excavate it.
Well, that is very interesting.
Very famous. You've never heard of it till just now. That's my point. Okay, as we said at the beginning, it's been a very busy semester for me.
Yeah.
To the point that I didn't even realize. Like my mom, I went home, my mom's like, how are you doing? And I'm like,
are you okay?
I'm fine. I really like, because I've been in modes like this before, like semesters that are really busy with ministry stuff with traveling and the family, and those should probably be in a different order. But you know what? Whatever. It's the order that gives me stress, I guess. She's like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
Because I have to. Like, it's there's nothing I can do about the situation. I just got to do it. So, as everyone heard last week's show, everybody enjoyed last week's show because I was very grumpy, and everybody loves it when I'm grumpy.
Yeah, I do too.
And
you're welcome.
Thank you. Most time it's because of you, but whatever. I went home, and I finally got to rest. I got more days off last week than I did all semester. Like, from August until last week, I had more days off last week. So the first 2 days, like, I was just grumpy but content.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
But I was enjoying, like,
the solitude.
Yeah. Like, I just, like, sat there and, like, I read. Like, when I say read, I don't read. I pay people to read to me.
To read to you.
Right. With Audible. Right.
That's okay.
It's the greatest
By the way, there's significant science that says it's the same. It does, like, the same thing to your brain. So
I mean, I'm brilliant.
I mean, you don't care.
Obviously. I actually think it's better. But, you know, whatever. Read 2 books. I beat a video game. Almost beat another video. Like, I'm just some great times of just, like, relaxing. But I was really grumpy and kind of decompressed. And then, like, the 2 days in the middle, I was really happy. And that was, like, Thanksgiving Day and the day after.
Festive.
Very, very happy. Like,
lots of food.
It was relaxing. Like, we ate a lot of food, 8.5 pounds worth. And just relaxing. I got to see my best friend. We got to play Pokemon Go, like, with the family. We met up with friends. Like, it was just good. And then the last 2 days of the break, I was just exhausted. I was finally getting the sleep I needed.
Right.
And, like, the busyness finally hit me.
Yes.
And this always happens, and I don't understand why. So what I need from you is your old woman says wisdom for why this happens. Yeah. Why did I go from... I get why I was grumpy and tired. Yeah. And then I kind of get why I was rested. Yeah. Why did I go backwards by doing the same thing?
I'm so glad you asked, by the way, because I do have a hypothesis. Actually, I have 2. The first one is that I think that it is completely legitimate to indulge and probably eat things that you're not used to eating. You probably consumed a lot of carbs and sugar when maybe you have been being a little more mindful about that. And you probably let all kinds of guards down. And I think that what we consume completely affects our mood. So I think that there's probably a physiological component, but then I think there's probably an emotional component too, where you're like, I have to get back at it. You know, so there's a little bit of dread to, gosh, this was really nice. And here we go again.
That makes sense. You know, want to know why your first theory makes the most sense?
Why?
I've never enjoyed sweet potatoes.
Ugh, they're so good.
I've never enjoyed them. I've always hated them.
Yeah.
And then about 5 years ago, I had one experience with sweet potatoes that I enjoyed. Somebody like candied them and then wrapped them in bacon.
Ooh.
So like, again, this didn't say that I liked sweet potatoes. This was just confirmation of my theory that anything wrapped in bacon I will enjoy.
Sure. Yeah.
So then I didn't eat them again. And then this week for Thanksgiving, I ate sweet potatoes. I think the sweet potatoes are the reason that I got grumpy.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't know why you think that that's what I said, because that's not what I said.
You said that I was consuming things that I didn't usually consume, and it's because of the sweet potatoes.
You just pinned this all on a yam.
I did. Yam them. I think it's because I know the end is in sight. Because now I'm back to work.
A race is always hardest to finish when the end is in sight. Always.
That would have been good to hear if I would have ran the turkey trot with everyone else in my family. I stayed home and watched the kids because I'm a good person.
Oh, wow. But really, you're like, yes.
Oh, it was the best. I
kind of lived in fear of marrying into a family that was going to run turkey trots on Thanksgiving.
And your husband was afraid to marry into a family that went to Round Top for Thanksgiving. So that's what we got there. But yeah, I know it's almost done. It's almost done.
Yeah.
The race is almost finished. I have 2.5 weeks left to work.
2.5 weeks. That's
I
it.
love my
Taylor,
job.
you can do anything for 2.5 weeks. You could stand on your head for 2.5 weeks.
No, I couldn't.
Yes, you could.
But thanks for trying.
I believe in you.
I don't believe in me like you believe in me. And I think one of us is right. And I will always side with myself on that one. I will always side with myself. But I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the interview without you. I'm going to kick you out of the room. I'm just kidding. I'm recording the interview tomorrow because of her schedule. Stacey Sumereau is going to be on the show. I love Stacey. We finally met in person a couple weeks ago at NCYC. She's going to come on. She went viral. Hundreds of thousands of people saw this thing that she posted the other day. We're going to be talking about that. Do not go anywhere. Except for you, Allison. You need to go hide somewhere for a good, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes while I talk to Stacey.
Spidey, save me.
I like how you're coming full circle. Usually that's my job, but you're doing it today. Allison, we're just going to record the third segment. We're going to talk about Frozen 2. But first, I'm going to talk to Stacey. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I dropped Allison Sullivan, added Stacey Sumereau. You're back on the show, Stacey. Welcome back.
Hi, I am so excited to have the distinction of being one of your returning guests now, Taylor.
I usually don't enjoy my guests and don't have them back, but this time I made a. No, I'm just kidding. My guests are great. The co-hosts, on the other hand, are a little different, but I do think this is hilarious. So you're a musician. We know that you sing, and you sing all pretty, and you dance all crazy. That should be your description. I sing pretty and dance crazy.
Actually, that's pretty brilliant. I like that. Yeah, if you go to my Instagram account, you'll see quite a bit of shenanigans.
It's quite fun. So how do people spell your name to find you on the old Instagrams?
Oh, such a great question. Okay. Sumereau.
Okay, so this...
It's really tricky. It's a lot of vowels.
It really is, and I've been super impressed with myself, which happens very often, to be honest, with how well that I've been able to spell your name. I've never once spelled it wrong.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I've never once spelled it wrong because I'm amazing.
Wow. Yeah, when I met my husband on Catholic Match, I spelled his name wrong.
Wait, really? I'm excited to hear this. We'll get into that in a second. Because it's going to connect, I would guess, to what we're talking about because you went viral on the internet because of your marriage or something. But first, we have a few very important things to get through. A few things that I've been looking forward to talking to you about. So we scheduled this. I told the people that this is a day in the future, but they're hearing it tomorrow. It's all very confusing. I'm in the future from what I recorded earlier, but you're listening to this as we record in the past. And you've been incepted Forte Catholic style. But we're recording. I just got home from school, and there's a song that came out back when we were young that involved Stacey and school. Do you remember this song? I'm sure you've heard it and hate this song.
Stacey's mom?
Yes.
Oh, Oh my gosh. Wait, I have a story about that song. Do you want to hear it?
I do want to hear it, actually. I thought you would be very upset by this, and you're just rolling with it.
Oh, no. I people sing this song to me all the dang time. The boys used to sing it to my mom, and I was always really upset. I was like, why did you like me? But so Stacey's mom, so I was the president of the a cappella group in college.
Of course you were. Of course
I was. Are we surprised? And so I was a junior in college. My mom was actually pregnant with her 8th child. So my brother Dan was born my junior year of college. We're 20 years apart. And so on the night she went into labor was our opening a cappella group concert. And on our playlist happened to be Stacey's mom. And so my friend Bobby Kilner, who is now Father Bob Kilner, was the soloist. And he got on the mic and he was like, hey guys, Stacey's mom really does have it going on. She's in labor with her 8th child tonight. So Dan was born and the world has never been the same.
Oh my goodness. What a story.
Yeah.
A priest singing Stacey's mom. That's what we need in today's church. Yeah.
He is the most wonderful person, Taylor. He really
I am, but that's beside the point.
That's true. Sorry. Well, obviously, I meant second only to you.
Obviously. I mean, yeah, it was just understood.
You did carry a box for me at NCYC.
I did. And
you were a gentleman.
I was, but what I haven't told you until now is, boy, did I regret that. That was a very heavy box.
That was stupid heavy.
It was one of those things that, like, I both regretted it and I was very happy because, like, I know, like, you're a strong woman, but there's no way. Like, I don't know how you would have gotten it out there. I don't know. My
arms are toothpicks. Like, I can carry 2 babies, but that box was no match. I was no match for that box. And that we were all loading out. So here we met at NCYC. We were going to talk about that. Right. Yeah. You're very tall. You're very strong. You carried that box on your head. And I was extremely grateful.
Please keep going. Please. You
are very tall. You're very tall. You're taller than I thought you were going to be, which is always kind of nice. Like to have, it must be really nice to have that commanding presence.
It is. I feel very strong, but most people, when they see me, they're like, you're a lot fatter than we thought. So I'm glad this was I was big in the other direction. Okay, we've got to get back to Stacey's mom, though. That's the whole point of why I brought you on the show. Because the irony is I just finished being the campus minister at school. I left early to come hang out with you. And the first words of that song is, Stacey, can I come over after school? I didn't come over to your house, but I came over to this Zoom meeting after school to talk to you in the middle of winter. Your last name is Sumereau. And here we are in winter in Texas where it is always summer. It all connects. And that's why we're here. Okay, so we met at NCYC. I was fatter than you thought. I carried a box for you. My arms are still sore. But this was we finally met in person. I was really excited. You kept complaining about how you look, and you look like a model, and you like sang on Broadway and stuff. And you're like, I look terrible. I was like, Stacey, I look like me all the time. Like, stop saying this. It's offensive.
This is, I don't know. I guess there's no expectation for men to wear makeup, but I lost all of my makeup in the Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And you're very kind to say everything you said. Actually, I'm really appreciative that you were like, stop it. You look great. Because I was like, okay, I'm just going to stop complaining. Because it's weird when you're a woman and you're at a conference and you're trying to appear professional and you're meeting literally hundreds of people without any makeup on your face. Not that I wear a lot, but just a little bit. But you know what? It was a good experience. It was kind of refreshing. So now I know how you feel all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. To be fair, I understand a bit where you were coming from. Now, I never have looked as nice as any woman, to be honest. But I needed to shave my head, and I didn't have time to do it before I left. So the first day of NCYC, we traveled, we got there. It was so busy. I just wore my hat the entire time because I look my age when I wear a hat. I look 30 years old. Take off the hat, 47. Put on the hat, 30. Take off the hat, 47. So I brought my razor and shaved like in my hotel bathroom. I shaved my head so that I wouldn't look like a loser for the rest of the conference. So I get it. You could have asked me. I would have let you use my foundation if you would have asked, but you didn't ask.
Oh my gosh. You're so sweet. I should have asked you. We're about the same color. I think we'd wear the same shade.
We're about the same color. No one's ever said that to me in my entire life. That's awesome.
First time for everything.
So, okay, so this was your first experience. Like, we met at this conference. I'm always at these conferences. I've never seen you there. This was your first time. Like, you had like a Stacey Sumereau booth, and you're called in Caffeinated Podcast, and you did all the things. How was it?
It was amazing. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it was great. You know what probably stood out to me the most was that I feel like a part of a community this time around with the booth, because I'd have people coming by and I've interviewed them for my podcast, and and we got to actually meet in person, such as yourself and Jackie Francois. And, and I got to connect with people who I really felt like part of this community of speakers, which is really wonderful. And I think about this often. I'm like, you know what, there's all these amazing people who are working for the kingdom. And this is just the beginning of the party that goes all the way into eternity. So I'm like, this isn't going to be, this life is just the beginning of us knowing each other, hopefully into eternity. So that was really, really cool for me. The booth did great. One other humbling thing besides forgetting my makeup or losing my makeup was that I actually spelled the word caffeinated on my sign wrong. Did you? I was so tired when I made that sign. I did not have enough caffeine. And so I spelled it caffeinated. And then a really nice seminarian pointed it out. But you know what I thought? Here's what I thought, Taylor, was that if there were two guys named Nate out there and they liked coffee and they wanted to start a podcast, I figured that would be a really good name, the Caffeinated Podcast.
So what I like,
free idea for you all.
I don't know how to spell like the I before E thing. That's what I thought you were going to mess up. Like
no,
I was about to like comfort you and be like, if it said caffeinated EI or IE, I don't even know which one's right. I just would have assumed, oh, Stacey knew what she was doing. I didn't see the Nate thing.
It was bad.
Yeah, that's rough.
It was really bad. I was so tired when I made that sign. But anyway, you know what though? That sign had one job, which is to just get people to look at my booth for 5 seconds. So fortunately, nobody noticed, as far as I know, until the last day, or just nobody pointed it out to me. So it was all good.
What's great is from your like Broadway background, like the whole like booth area is just a circus, right? And all of the booths are just circus attractions. And like you used to be the opera singer and you were like the main attraction. And this time you were more like, oh, let's go talk to this weird lady that doesn't know how to spell the name of her own show. She must be strange. Let's talk to her. And it worked. It worked. I'm proud of you for making that transition from talented to clown, because I've only been the clown my entire life. Welcome to the family.
You know what? Like I said, it's a community. Yeah. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
We're a community of clowns here in the Catholic speaking and podcasting world. Okay. Speaking of the Catholic world, you took it by storm like 2 weeks ago. It was like right around the time of the conference. You went viral right around the time that I was viral and got sick, and it was very sad. Meanwhile, you were going viral on the internet, and like I was sick and very busy. So I didn't actually like see what was going on. You sent me an email. I tried to find it, and what happened? I don't understand what happened.
Okay, here's what happened. So I'll tell you about the post first, and then I'll tell you the backstory, because the backstory is pretty cool. So the post was something I published on Thursday. I want to say it was like November 14th or something. And I just posted 3 pictures of a little moment from our wedding reception where my husband surprised me. We just decided we weren't going to do a garter toss. We both felt a little uncomfortable about it. And so
they are super strange. I just watched a female comedian talk about it, and it was so funny. So funny.
Yeah. Did you and your wife do one?
She didn't. I don't remember. Honey?
Okay.
Sam? I think she's outside. We'll find out. I don't remember. I remember she had one. Let's stop this conversation. You keep going.
Okay. We'll just shroud that in mystery, that whole area. But we just weren't going to do one. And so instead, John surprised me by actually bringing out a bowl of water and washing my feet. And a bowl of water in a pitcher, and he washed and dried my feet, which of course is the symbolic action representing what Christ did the night before he, died for the...
Right before he married Mary Magdalene, right?
Exactly. Yes. I'm so glad you're so theologically solid.
This is a disclaimer. Everything Taylor just said was fake. Jesus didn't get married. It was a joke. If you're mad, I don't understand why you're listening to Forte Catholic. Please continue, Stacey.
It's sad we live in a world where you have to make disclaimer. So this post went just really viral because it was, I think it was talking about sacrificial love. I can't even remember. Sacrificial love, agape love, which of course is where you lay your life down for another person. And it was just about how wonderful it was that my husband would do that for me, and how that when you put sacrificial love before you put eros, which is kind of the, attraction, sexual attraction or whatever. When you put agape first, then eros will follow, which I have found to be true many times in my own life. So that went viral. We're up to, I haven't even checked it in about a week, but over 17.3 million views as of last
I
report.
love how nonchalant you are. There's no way you're nonchalant about this. You're like, I think it was November. I think I said this. I think it had 17 million. You know exactly what day it was. You know exactly what you said. And you know exactly how many people to the ones have seen this.
To the ones?
Yeah.
No, Taylor, I don't. Shut up. Stop insulting me. Sometimes when I talk to you, I feel like we're both in high school. And I just sort of want to punch you. But anyway.
Maybe you are. Here's my theory. And I hadn't thought about this until just now when you said it, and I think it all makes sense. You are the kind of girl I would have loved to talk to in high school, but just the kind of girl that refused to talk to me. So I think this is like me reliving something that should have happened 15 years ago.
So I'm not even like a real person to you. I'm an archetype or something.
Exactly. So anyway, out of this awkward conversation, let's get back to the love between you and your husband. Okay. So you have this viral like, here's the thing. Here's what's crazy about it. Like, I knew it was about the washing of the feet, which now, how long ago did y'all get married?
2016.
Okay.
So it's been 3.5 years. I thought that this was a thing people knew about, but I don't think people knew about it because I think that's a big part of the reason why it went viral.
Okay. That makes sense because like I run in very Catholic circles because I don't think I'll get in on my own holiness. I think I'll get in based on the holiness of the people around me. And before people argue about me, many of you have heard my theory about Noah and his sons and his sons' wives. They weren't righteous. They just married into the right family and hung around the holy people. That's what I'm trying to do. So anyway, so you, like a lot of people in my circles, it's been kind of a recent trend. So I think in 2016, it was still relatively kind of a new thing what people are doing. But yeah, it is interesting, like why it went viral now.
Yeah. I think, it's interesting. I don't know if it was just the way that it was kind of just very simply written and presented. And I think I think it's trite to say it, but our culture is really hungry for that kind of love. And what made me really pleased and happy was that it made it really, really, really far outside of the Catholic bubble, to the point where there were people commenting, saying, this is the most hopeful thing I've ever seen on the internet. This is not what you see every day. Older people saying, thank God that there's somebody starting out their marriage like this. Not that my husband and I are perfect. My husband's he's pretty perfect, but I definitely have a lot to work on. But
I'm mad at you that you just said essentially practically perfect, and you're an opera singer, and you didn't say he's practically perfect in every way. It was such an opportunity you missed.
Perfect. That's my forte.
Oh, look at you! Look at you, freestyle rapping and everything.
Freestyle rap. I'm pretty edgy, in case you can't tell, Taylor.
So here's the thing. I think I just figured it out. Why it went viral. It's because all of us, our entire life, have just been inundated with marketing from Mattel about Barbie and Ken. And they finally got to see in real life Barbie and Ken on their wedding day with Ken washing Barbie's feet. And the whole thing came full circle.
Taylor.
So we only have like 2 minutes left. You wanted to give some backstory to this. So give us the exclusive backstory.
Okay, here's the exclusive backstory. It is that 3 days before I published this post, my husband and I had a very long, honest conversation about my commitments. So I love doing my ministry. And I feel called to write a book, and I've been working on it, but we were trying to figure out, how much is too much? Where does it take place in our marriage, in our children's lives, and so forth? And so we had to be really honest. It was a tough conversation. And then he went and took the kids for me for a day and a half. We do a thing sometimes where he goes to my in-laws, takes the kids to Pennsylvania, or I take the kids to Pennsylvania for a day and a half. So
yes, those things that married people do is called fights. Those are fights. Okay, please continue.
There was no yelling, to be fair. But there was, there's painful honesty. And during that time when he was up in PA, I actually recorded a podcast episode with Melissa Tablata, who you should know, she's a lovely person, about overcommitment. And it was really percolating in my brain. And as with every other major life choice, I had to surrender everything to God. I had to come to the realization that my husband comes first, our marriage comes first before any of my ministry or any of my projects or work, passions, whatever. He came back from Pennsylvania, and I told him, I really want you to feel comfortable more than anything. I really want you to feel loved and wanted and so forth. I want to prioritize our marriage. And then the next day, with all of this stuff percolating in my brain, was when I posted that. And then, of course, first I have to surrender. I have to be willing to let go of whatever it is that I want. And then God's going to do something crazy with it. And that's been the case with every single decision of my life is surrender first. And then God will, God doesn't always make, something like that specifically happen. But there's been so many times when there's been like fireworks and it's just insane. Church Pop picked up the article, WTN, National Catholic Register, Alatia in Italian. And it's just, it really was humbling. It was humbling for me because I had just been in this place myself of really wanting something that was taking priority over my marriage. And so, it's one of those funny things where I'm like, okay, we're now the face of agape love, or at least my husband is, to 17.3 million young ladies. There were a lot of heart emojis on the on the post. In fact, my husband was like, did anyone use the word chiseled features?
I'm going to go comment and be like, you look very Ken-like, buddy. So here's the lesson I'm taking out of this. My wife and I need to get in a fight. She needs to leave me for a day and a half, take my children in a threatening manner, and then I need to post, and then I'll finally go viral. So that's what I've learned out of this. Everybody needs to go follow at Stacey Sumereau on Instagram and the Called and Caffeinated podcast. Enjoy it. Stacey, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I appreciate you coming on.
It's been a pleasure, Taylor. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And I will be right back with Allison Sullivan. Don't go anywheres. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am the Forte Catholic. And if we had to use a musical notation to describe Allison, I think we would say, oh man, smooth with fervor.
All right.
Sometimes you get like at the beginning of like how to play a song, it'll say at the top like extravagant with passion. So smooth.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, smooth with fervor.
I like it.
You're welcome.
I need that like cross-stitched somewhere. Tattooed, perhaps.
What's great is you actually have a tattoo, and that's what I thought you were going to say. But I have gotten in your head so much, making fun of you as an old woman all day, that you said cross-stitched.
Yeah.
And that's probably in your mind because you went to old lady heaven in Round Top for
I'm
Thanksgiving.
just going to cross-stitch and drink gin and other things old ladies do.
Well, I'm very proud of you. So one thing that old ladies do not do is have children. And you have children. So maybe you're not as old as I'm putting it.
I do have a lot of those.
You do have a lot. How many do you have?
I have 5.
I always think you have more than that.
I know.
I feel like you haven't done well enough.
Maybe it's well, that's where we're
pregnant?
stopping. Stop that right now. The kids do keep pestering me. I'm like, that'll do, you 5.
I'm actually interested in this now. Are all of them pestering you about this? Who wants another sibling?
The big 4. The big 4 are pestering me.
Okay.
They all do.
It would be funnier if it was like just the oldest. It's like, you obviously peaked with me, and the rest of them weren't as good, so you need to make another one like me. That's how I feel
another go.
As the oldest child.
Yeah. No, it's really not that there's 5. It's that there's 5 in 5 years. So my oldest is 10 and my youngest is 5. I have 2 5-year-olds. Thank you very much.
I do not.
I'm not complaining, by the way. We have a happy house. I don't mind a loud, exciting house. I really just can't be pregnant again. It's really about that. Retired.
We might need to discuss can't or won't after this, but whatever. So you love most of your kids. I love most of my kids. There was a big movie that came out this last week.
Ah, yes. I already know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
Frozen.
No.
What?
I was talking about... Dang it, I can't think of another movie that didn't come out.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Ford versus Ferrari. You beat me on a pop culture reference, proving once again you're not 65 years old. Only 60 now. Okay, so Frozen 2 came out.
Yeah, it did.
And has it been the same in your house as it has been here? Here, my kids have been... Every time they saw a trailer for the last 6 months, they thought that meant the movie was on.
Here we go.
Like it's
Get
here.
the popcorn,
Everybody
people.
shut up. And then we all got there and the 30-second commercial was over.
Sure.
they like didn't understand it was coming in the future. Like, what was it like in your house with the Frozen 2 mania?
So here's what happened in our house. Frozen 1 came out when my little girl was 3 or 4 or some perfect age to enjoy it. And so she sat in my lap for Frozen 1 while I was pregnant with her baby sister. So in the meantime, my oldest has probably gotten a little too old to go, darting to the TV, expectant and hopeful. And
I just want everyone to know that as you said darting, you like ran in place very quickly. It was awesome.
I gesture a lot, actually. That ends up coming up a lot on your show is all my wild gesticulating. Is that a word?
Right.
Doesn't
I don't
sound right.
think
It
doesn't sound appropriate at all. I don't know what it means, but I'm just going to assume we shouldn't say it. And now you're like clawing like a large mama bear.
Okay. And then my youngest did not enjoy Frozen 1 to its fullest because she was teenincy. So we have a little bit of an in-between. You see what I'm saying? So Frozen 1 was not, Frozen 2 has not been quite the hype that Frozen 1 was.
I think that is fair in total.
Okay.
I think Frozen, like that song, the song that we're not going to sing because it'll be stuck in everybody's head and everyone will hate me more than they already do.
It's already done, Taylor. It already happened.
Do you want to build a let it? Okay, so my kids loved Frozen.
Yes.
And it was like, I work in youth ministry, like Frozen 6 years ago was like the thing.
Sure.
Like, we watched it on the way to summer camp that year, like which makes no sense.
Well,
it's like,
if you're
hey.
Olaf, it does.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, here's this movie about beautiful Christmases and making ice.
Right.
Let's go hang out in the 115-degree weather outside all week in 100% humidity, kids. My kids loved it. They were super excited about it. And we went and saw it, and like, I don't think it lived up to the hype. I don't think it lived up to the Frozen 1 hype.
Oh, no. It gets a big fat meh from me. Total meh. But can I tell you? Do we have a second to talk about Frozen 1? Because I mean, the frenzy is real. Like
we have 12 minutes actually.
Frozen 1 frenzy is completely well deserved, and there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, Anna and Elsa are precious. By the way, I try to cut bangs every time I see it, and I'm like, okay, they're a cartoon. Their bangs were drawn by someone. Do not cut bangs, Allison. Okay, so they're precious people.
I wish God would draw me some hair.
And then, okay, so their relationship, their characters are perfect. Olaf is adorable. The music was fantastic. And there was also this divine message. I don't know if I was, the only person.
I think the divine message was, let it go, give it to God, because that's all I can think about whenever I see that movie.
No, you have Elsa who is given this gift, really. It's a gift. But when you kind of mess with magic, that can be a bad thing. A lot of times our gifts can kind of be our greatest weaknesses
You heard it here first.
too.
Messing with magic could be a bad thing. It's the Catholic Church's stance, according to Allison Sullivan.
Stop it. But a lot of times our gifts can lead to some of our greatest weaknesses, And so she has this gift and she's trying to manage it, She's like, only certain rooms, only certain people, she always has to wear the gloves. And so she's managing this thing, or trying to, at least from the outside, and it's just not working. And it wasn't until that she came face to face with sacrificial love that she was changed from the inside out. And so I feel like there was this, a lot of deeper meaning with what's the next best thing to holiness? The next best thing to holiness is faking holiness, like what holiness looks like on the outside. But if nothing's changing on the inside, it's the inside of the cup, right? It's, the parable that Jesus is telling about what good is a dirty cup. If it's dirty on the inside, you can clean the outside, but who wants to drink out of a moldy cup, right? And so Elsa was changed from the inside through this sacrificial love. And so I fell in love with Frozen 1. Frozen 1 frenzy, completely worth it. Frozen 2, meh.
Okay.
A big fat meh.
I don't know why it has to be fat, but I feel like that's making fun of me for the 8.5 pounds I gained last week. But, whatever.
Well, it's like, can we just let a good thing be a good thing? It's a completely unnecessary sequel. Let's just leave Frozen 1 alone. I'm emphatic.
I want every one of my responses to you today to just let it go. Just let it go. And it's going to get old, but I think it's going to be one of those jokes that, like, it was funny the first time. Mm-hmm. It's not been funny the last 2 or 3. And in 6 more times, it's going to be funny again.
You're going to pull it out 2 weeks from now, and we're going to slap our knees and such.
Slap your knee. You're so old. We do have to talk. So I did not go into Frozen 1 with like the Catholic worldview hat on. Like I didn't go into Frozen 1.
You don't look for deeper meanings in Disney movies?
If you would let me finish.
No.
It was 6 years ago. I didn't have a radio show. Why would I watch it with a theological lens if I couldn't talk about it?
Because living life deeply matters, Taylor.
No, you mentioned earlier, you're like Frozen 1's all about holiness or holiness on the outside. I'm not good at either.
You weren't holy 6 years ago? You weren't trying to be holy 6 years ago?
Trying and being are two different things.
Well.
6 years ago, I just watched Frozen as a movie. This year, I watched Frozen half to love my children. The other half was so that I could talk about it right now on the radio show because I have to have content. I have to do something. I was off last week. Like, what else was I going to do? Sit there and think about what I was going to say on the radio? No. I'm going to go watch Frozen 2
I'm going to go
with my
watch
kids.
Frozen and have an Insta message.
Here's what's sad about this. We've already agreed that Frozen 1 was better. And I think that there were a lot of spiritual connections that you could make from Frozen 1. I went into Frozen 2 like ready to take notes.
Oh, yeah.
So I could come back here.
Expectant.
You're looking at my notes.
Yeah.
They're right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all of them.
You want to know what's sad?
What?
I think I liked 3 things about the movie as well. And it's the same 3 things you've got.
Okay, here are the 3 things. Now, I have to say, there were only 3, which is strange.
Well, I frankly only had 2.
I only had 2 as well. I tweeted them out, and then someone else tweeted back and said, here's a third one.
Gave you another
I'm
idea. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
The first one is just for my self-edification.
Okay.
Olaf says to Anna,
mm-hmm.
You're older and therefore all-knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And me, as a person who is a parent, as a person who works in youth ministry, I'm going to use this constantly.
I thought you were about to compliment me.
No, not at all. That didn't cross my mind in the slightest.
Well, I'm sitting here, expectant for a compliment.
No.
Compliment me, Taylor.
This is all for my use. So it's like anytime one of my kids, like my actual children that I helped create, or the kids at the youth group are being dumb, I'll just be like, I'm older and therefore all knowing. So stop doing it, whatever it is you're doing.
Yes. All right. Fine. I'll get behind that. And I fully expect to use it in your presence. If you can use it, I can too.
I feel like you thought this was going somewhere else.
Yeah. Well,
one for the compliment. I'm
hanging on. I'm not letting it go.
I was about to say it. Why did that one stick out to you? You said it stuck out to you too.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, not that one.
No.
Your next one.
My next one.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you could explain this to me.
Okay.
The movie was 6 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Did they get 6 years older?
I didn't pay very close attention, Taylor.
I don't think they did. Because, for whatever reason, in the first movie, I thought they were like young children, like teenagers. And then all like young teenagers, like 13.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden in this movie, Kristoff's about to propose to Anna. I'm like, she's 12. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, I didn't think that.
Well, you're older and therefore wiser. So, at one point, they're like fighting and getting in a tiff, right? Or like, he's trying to propose, and like it's kind of part of the comedy is he wants to keep proposing. He keeps putting his foot in his mouth, or something else happens.
Yeah.
Or he tries to tell a compliment,
mm-hmm.
and it gets taken the wrong way. Boy, do I know how that man feels. I think it's the whole like cried wolf thing. Everybody expects me to just be sarcastic and do a barb.
To be a jerk.
And that's how I show my love. People close to me know this.
Yeah, it's like a kindergartner.
Right. And then I actually compliment someone, and they're like, wait, what did you mean by that?
I don't know what to do with that.
Why are you complimenting? Because it's nice? You told me to? And now I'm in. I'm just going to go back to... Your
I
toes
don't know
look
why
funny.
I'm in trouble right now.
Right. We just go back to being mean. So they get split up. They kind of... He's frustrated with her a little bit. She's kind of frustrated, focused on her own thing. They're kind of just like... But a lot of it's kind of natural. It's not like they had a huge fight. Just kind of like they naturally kind of parted ways for a little while.
Well, she's a little busy.
She is. Trying to like save the world.
Save things. Yeah.
But he is frustrated with her.
Mm-hmm.
But yet in her time of need, he comes and picks her up on a reindeer. Okay, now if you haven't seen the movie, it sounds really dumb. But like he comes and picks her up and he says, I'm here. What do you need?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. That was the moment that I pulled out my phone and I was like, I had already had the silly note from the previous one. And this is the one I was like, I needed to hear this from
Yeah.
a children's Disney movie. Okay, why did you like it?
Well, that phrase in particular.
No, the popcorn you were eating. Yes, this
shush.
phrase.
Well, I didn't know if you meant a larger, like, general about the movie in general. Shush. Okay. So I noticed too the I'm here, what do you need? I think we all need that message, not just, necessarily males to females in relationships, but just as we sit along sadness, as we try to make sense of suffering, I feel like we all need that message that we do not need to come up with the perfect words or the perfect activity. We just need to be there. We just need to be present and then ask the question, what do you need? And then be really open to what the answer is, because the answer might be nothing. The answer might be, throw me on the back of this reindeer and fly like the wind, But I love the open-ended question. I love the room for you tell me, how can I be of service to you?
Yeah, and I think for me, it hit me because of the business that we talked about in the first segment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been so busy that I have not been able to do this. I love being able to do this, and I haven't been able to. One, either because I don't have time, or my answer recently has changed from I'm here, what do you need, to I'm here, leave me alone. I just don't have the brain space or the willpower to handle all the stuff that I have to do, plus the being nice to people. So like being nice to people has just been flushed out the window. Great job, Taylor. Good job. Flushed out the window.
We did know what you mean, though.
Well, sometimes you're sitting upstairs and you're not by a bathroom. You just have to let it go.
That was really bad.
Yep. So I like that message, and it was like, it was a call for me to do that more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this holiday season, this Advent season, this upcoming Christmas season, where I am going to have some more time off.
Yeah.
To be able to start saying that.
Yeah,
again.
and mean it. Yeah.
Right.
Not just going through the motions of what love should look like.
Speaking of love, the last one.
Yeah.
It's also in that same conversation.
Yeah.
Where she's, I forget the whole context of what she was saying, but it was like kind of them making up after all this.
Yeah, she was apologizing for being absent and for taking off without him. And then he says this. He
says, my love is not fragile. And my first thought was, oh, that's sweet. And then my second thought was another Disney movie, Fragile, and it ruined the whole thing.
Oh, gosh. No, but I think this is really important as we try to navigate our relationships. And it doesn't even have to be a romantic relationship, but even friendships, where I feel like a lot of times our hurt feelings are always giving us permission to walk away. And there's something about committing to, because really what we're asked to do is lay down our lives for our friends. That's what we're asked to do. And I find that it's like my goal in life is to take on every evil except my own. I never even come close to considering dying, to myself. And so the idea that my love is not fragile is a way to say, I'm committed to this and I'm hanging in there. And I just think it's a really beautiful thing, particularly in marriage or a romantic relationship, but also in friendship. I think there's a lot of room for that.
Well, good. I'm glad to be your friend.
You're a good friend, Taylor. You really are. It's true. It's really true. I know, it's a shtick, you guys. You should know.
You talk funny, old lady. All right, that's all we have time
Is shtick
for
a word old ladies
today.
say?
Sure. It's okay. Let it go. All right. I'm tired of this segment. I'm sure you are too. I'll be back next week. Say it!